Hey guys, Dr. Christine Vaccaro, your gynecologist and sexual medicine specialist in the DC area. Today I'm going to be talking about all the home therapy options you can do to reduce bothersome urinary incontinence. I'm going to start with urgency urinary incontinence, which is the kind of incontinence where you feel like you have to go, you either hear running water, you see a bathroom, you stand up and now all of a sudden you have this intense urge to urinate. And how do you get from point A, wherever you are, to the bathroom without having leakage? This is definitely more of a problem as women age, so a lot of the times this is a hormonal problem, but things you can do at home. Number one, don't drink irritating foods and fluids. So coffee, sodas, teas, anything caffeinated or acidic really generally upsets and irritates the bladder. Caffeine itself fills the bladder quickly, so it makes the bladder full faster. So these things are generally going to cause you more urgency and potentially lead to more leakage. Another thing I commonly see is people over consuming fluids. So I know it's hard because we're getting a lot of mixed messages from the media, drink a bunch of water to be healthy, but actually the Institutes of Medicine in 2004 put out a very strong statement to just drink to thirst. So I know this kind of goes against what's popular right now with health and weight management, but generally most adults get plenty of fluids from their fruits, vegetables, and letting thirst be their guide and drinking water, which is very hydrating. So if you're drinking more than 64 ounces a day, and generally you're potentially over consuming, and that's just going to lead to more trips to the bathroom and potentially more leakage. The next thing is weight management. So again, this is always a difficult one too. There's lots of great new meds and therapies on the market, but again, less pressure on the abdomen, then it puts less pressure on the bladder. So again, can help prevent more pressure, and that pressure sometimes leads to strong urges and potentially leakage issues. The very next thing is Kegels, right? I've talked about Kegels before, but a lot of times women aren't really sure where the Kegels are, how to do them properly. So here is where I really recommend seeing a provider who knows about the pelvic floor muscles. Again, that's a gynecologist, urogynecologist, urologist, or pelvic floor physical therapist. Again, pelvic floor physical therapists are generally the providers that are doing this day in and day out, so they're probably the most important specialists to add to your care team if you're having urinary incontinence. To make sure that you're doing all that you can do in your body to prevent leakage. So it puts you back in control of your bladder. So those muscles that support the pelvic floor, you know I love models, are these muscles right here called the levators, and they are a big group of muscles that wrap around the rectum, vagina, and urethra, and they basically lift or elevate to help put compression to help delay urination. And prevent leakage. A lot of pelvic floor physical therapists will teach techniques called freezing and squeezing, and that's basically a concept where you're not trying to outrun your bladder. So if your bladder's having a strong urge, to actually not try to run to the bathroom, but squeeze the pelvic floor muscles, which usually does take a coordinated and long squeeze to delay urination, which basically sends a signal up to the brain to tell the bladder, hey, this is not the socially correct time to empty. And then the brain tells the bladder, hey, let's relax and try again a little bit later. So that's called freeze and squeeze. There's also lots of other at-home therapies that you can do, several that are available online. Some are available through prescription order. Again, once you've seen a provider, and had your pelvic floor evaluated, there's things like the Leva, which actually is inserted in the vagina and gives you an app to show how well you're squeezing. It has pressure sensors throughout, so that's kind of a cool at-home therapy. There's lots of others on the market, some that have video games that are attached to them to make it kind of fun. But the bottom line is the pelvic floor is a large group of muscles that needs to be worked out, just like your biceps, to have proper function and control long term.